My name is Christophe Leroux. I'm from the CEA in France. CEA is the Research and Technology Organization. And I'm working in the CEA in the robotics lab. And I am also involved in the organization of the robotics research program, the PPP, the robotics PPP. And within that PPP, I also have very strong involvement in ethical, legal, and societal issues. And my first involvement in this field were through coordination action, which was called Eurobotics. Eurobotics is a coordination action supported by the European Commission. And the role of this, the aim of this Eurobotic coordination action is to generally promote the European, or find ways to understand what are the obstacles to develop European robotics. And so there are different analyses made in this coordination action on the, for example, the gaps existing between academia and industry, and how we can fill up these gaps. And one of the goals we had in this coordination action was to understand the obstacles hindering the developments of robotics in terms of ethical, legal, and societal issues. And we go straight to the conclusion of our action, which is now over, but which is also followed by another coordination action, which is called ROC-EU. In Eurobotics, concerning ethical, legal, and societal issues, we had a special focus on ethical, legal, and societal issues which were specific to robotics. Which are these ethical, legal, and societal issues specific to robotics? So in this coordination action, we first of all try to propose a methodology to analyze these different issues. And our approach was to propose a top-down approach in the way, that is an approach in which we start from the concepts on the values of ethics, the societal challenges, and the legal concepts, to understand what could be the impact on what case studies, what special impact they could have on different robotics application. So we also worked a lot in coordination with the people from working the coordination RoboLaw. And concerning the legal issue, our choice was to analyze from the civil law, intellectual property right, criminal law, labor safety law, which were the points in which we could have some problems for the development of robotics. Of course, our action is really dedicated to the promotion of European robotics. And as Andrea said, one of the elements that we highlighted about the legal issues in robotics were the liability and non-contractual liability, specifically non-contractual liability issues. Labor law also is an open question for which we still do not have many clear solutions, and we need to explore. We focused our attention on the European legal systems, and we also have to investigate a bit furthermore how the legal systems in the different countries outside of Europe can be obstacles to the development of robotics. For example, the regulation in United States can be a barrier to promote the European robotics. That's something we need to investigate a little bit more. Concerning the ethical issues, our approach was to we focused specifically on applied ethics. I mean, applied ethics. We didn't care. We didn't pay attention. We didn't study the way we should apply or which norms to be followed by on ethics in robotics. We were more interested, or even on the definition of the values that should be defended in terms of ethics. But we choose to analyze in terms of actual ethical values, which were where were the problems for robotics. So our choice was to rely on the Charter for Fundamental Rights, which was signed by a majority of countries of European Union. And this charter is interesting because it's a document that is based on many other European documents, and it was signed by most of the European countries, and it defines some values. There are some 7 values or 7 articles which are declined in sub-chapters, and these values are common to all the countries in Europe. Now, these values are dignity, there is liberty, the right for work, and so on. And for each of these values, we tried then to analyze for different case studies, for different case problems, assistive robotics for elderly people, for example, surgical robotics. Briefly, because this document, the work we've been doing lasted only 3 years, but we try to identify in terms of these values where could there be any problems. So this work was, of course, conducted with the community of robotics people, and with Alan Winfield and Tony Prescott here, and with philosophers, with sociologists, and with different kind of, we wanted to be very inclusive. So in fact, we think the conclusion of in our document says that we didn't highlight some specific issues really for robotics, but robotics is something that can highlight maybe more than any other technologies these ethical issues, but most of the ethical issues that we can find in robotics exist in previous with previous technology, with other technologies. For example, if we take the problems of privacy that was mentioned concerning assistive robotics for elderly people, this is also some problem, some issue that exists if you are using a sensor network, for example. So that's okay. So generally speaking, the conclusion of our document was to say we should try to avoid stigmatization of robotics and understand that and it's all of our interest to stick to some other major domain, to find some solutions that would promote the utilization of robotics in the society. This is true as well for ethical issues, and it's also true for legal issues. For example, the problem in terms of rights with the usage of autonomous robots can be treated more efficiently in legal terms. That's the point of view of the jurists with which we've been working. So the solution we can find for this could be more efficient if we foresee this problem in a wider set of problems like transport and including the automotive manufacturer. For ethical issue, it's also more impacting if we can, and it avoids the stigmatization of robotics, if we can show that there is, that these privacy or dignity issues are not really stuck to robotic, but they are general problem. If you take, for example, the assistive technologies for elderly people, the problem of dignity, many people say that it can make a problem of dignity if you use a robot to assist elderly people, but it also can be a problem if you use a monkey, for example, and there were tries made in this in this sense in France, especially, which show that it's not the right way. It's not the right way to. But generally speaking, the main problem for assistive technologies is the aging of the population, and how can the society deal with this issue in the future. So what we propose in our approach is to really make a distinction between, and try to make a distinction between ethics, societal issues, and legal issues, and try to address them, address these issues separately and very clearly. So for ethical issues, we refer to the Charter of Fundamental Rights and the different articles it contains. For legal issues, we refer to the legal system, and of course we were more relying on the civil law model, but we also had some interactions with jurists from Edinburgh or Strathclyde to understand how this could impact the common laws. And the thing we still have to do right now is more, and for me, which is much more important, is to deal with, is to treat the issue, the societal issue. This is much more, for me, the biggest problem we can have at the moment. How will the society deal with the aging of the population, for example? How do we deal with problem of loss of employment with the introduction of robotics? What are the real problems for the society? How do we do? How can we communicate to the public? These are, for me, the main issue. We also have the ambition to create a big event, a yearly event, which should be, we'd like to be the leading event concerning ethical and legal and societal issues in robotics. And one of my ideas was to attach this event to the European Robotics Forum in March, which is every year in March, and this year it will be in Italy, in Rovereto, because this is the way to get the robotics community, and it's important to gather the communities, the non-technicians and technicians to go together and talk together. And it's I'm very pleased to have such a big audience, because usually in robotics forum we have 20 people interested in ethics, unfortunately. So
okay,
thank you.
Christophe.